Kohansu is a rich and powerful seafood broker, but he wants to win the heart of a poor village girl. Kohansu doesn't rely on good looks or his high social status. Instead, he uses a fresh red snapper fish. Kohansu asks a servant to give the fish to Sunja. When Sunja learns it's a gift from a man, she quickly refuses. In this time period, an unmarried girl meeting a strange man in private is almost like losing her purity, especially with a man like him, who is always the center of gossip. Sunja hears people talk about Kohansu every day. Men call him Kohansu, but he's actually a Korean who came back from Osaka. They say he did dirty work for the Japanese in Osaka, but now he does business fairly with Koreans too. He never bargains and punishes those who disrupt the market. Women guess Kohansu must be single because he never wears the same clothes twice. Kohansu is very popular with girls on the island, but Sunja wants nothing to do with him. Yet Kohansu noticed Sunja on his very first day here. That day Sunja faced arrogant Japanese men without bowing like everyone else. Her pride and defiance instantly caught Kohansu's attention. Without thinking, he followed Sunja with his eyes. Sunja seems to feel his gaze. Sunja turns and notices Kohansu staring at her. Their first real meeting turns into an argument. Hansu sees Sunja trading oranges with a fish seller for small fish. Angry Hansu scolds both of them, but Sunja uses her quick wit to talk him down. Hansu is even more impressed by this girl. To make it up to her, Hansu prepares some seafood and asks his servant to give it to Sunja. Sunja refuses, firmly, worried about gossip. But on her way to the ferry, some Japanese kids bother her. They drag her into a room by force. She's in real danger now. Hansu shows up just in time and saves her. He steps on the bullies' heads, making them apologize. He warns them never to harass Sunja again. Hansu doesn't trust her to go home alone, so he rides the ferry with her. After getting off, Sunja spots blood on Hansu's shirt to thank him. She tells him to bring the shirt to the riverbank tomorrow. She'll wash it for him the next day. They meet by the river as planned. Hansu watches Sunja while pretending to read a newspaper. Suddenly he asks if she's ever gone to school. Sunja says her parents had 3 sons before her, but all 3 brothers died before turning 1. She is the healthy child her parents finally had after many hardships. Her father has a cleft lip and a lame leg, but this imperfect father gives her all his love. When she was little, he wanted to send her to school, but her mother thought education was useless at that time, so she never went to school. Kohansu puts away his newspaper. He draws a map of the world outside Korea on a big rock. Japan is on Korea's right. On the left are China, Europe, and America, a much bigger world. Sunja listens dreamily as Kohansu describes this colorful world. Then she looks at Japan on the map and sighs. She thought Japan was much bigger than Korea, which is why it bullies Korea. But now she sees Japan isn't bigger. She believes Koreans can defeat Japan. Kohansu watches this girl who knows nothing about the world, yet has such strong fighting spirit. He is drawn to her even more. Kohansu says, "I want to come back here when you wash clothes. Is that okay?" After that they meet at the river every day. As they grow closer they share more personal stories. Kohansu tells Sunja about his childhood poverty and warns her the world is dark now. Nothing is worth being loyal to. Heavy rain keeps them apart for days. Sunja secretly admires Kohansu, who is wise and well-spoken. When the rain finally stops, they rush back to the riverbank. Hansu leads Sunja deep into the woods to pick mushrooms. Innocent Sunja thinks they're really going mushroom hunting. But when Hansu smiles and spreads his suit jacket on the ground, she understands his true intention. She doesn't refuse. Instead, she slowly moves closer to him. There in the woods they cross a line. After that they start meeting in secret. Often soon Hansu leaves for a business trip. He promises to return in a week, but days pass with no sign of him. Sunja grows very worried. She realizes she's carrying Hansu's child. Luckily, Hansu returns the next day. Overjoyed, Sunja throws herself into his arms. Hansu gives her a gold pocket watch as a gift. Sunja carefully touches the precious little object. Then she tells Hansu about the baby. After a moment of silence, Hansu happily pulls her into a hug. He hopes Sunja will give him a son. Seeing Hansu doesn't run from responsibility, Sunja finally feels relieved. She wants to visit her mother with Hansu to arrange their marriage. But Hansu suddenly turns serious and says, "I thought you understood what we are to each other." Sunja asks, "What do you mean?" Hansu says, "I can't marry you. I have a family. In Osaka, I have a wife and 3 daughters." Hansu says his marriage was arranged without love, but he can't abandon his wife and family. He can't promise Sunja marriage, but he can provide for Sunja, their child, and her mother. So they never lack anything. But Sunja refuses to be a mistress content with money. She wants a happy life with Hansu forever. Seeing Sunja's heartbroken face, Hansu coldly says his marriage was something he couldn't avoid. He tells Sunja not to mind it. But Sunja can't accept that Hansu already has a family. Losing patience, Hansu yells at Sunja. He accuses her of tricking him from the start. He says she got pregnant to force him to marry her. After all, Sunja couldn't marry before because of her father's cleft lip. Hansu says, "My child might inherit your father's defect. Don't I have a right to choose? So tell me who's really to blame here." Sunja can't bear Hansu insulting her late father. Heartbroken, she turns and leaves. When she sees her mother at home, Sunja feels extremely hurt and wronged. But at this moment a man staying at their guest house collapses in the heavy rain. Sunja and her mother quickly help him inside. The man faints as soon as he enters to find out his name. Sunja's mother and the village doctor check his belongings. From his books and letters they learn his name is Isaac. He is a pastor on his way to Osaka to be a missionary. The doctor says Isaac has tuberculosis. By law they must report his illness to the Japanese police. Sunja's mother can't bear to hand over the unconscious Isaac to the Japanese, so she stays up all night caring for him, hoping he will recover soon. The next morning Isaac's fever breaks, and he wakes up. As her mother goes to make breakfast for Isaac, Sunja calls her into the room. She tells her mother she is pregnant. Her mother is shocked. She demands to know the man's name, and whether he tricked or forced Sunja. But Sunja keeps shaking her head, refusing to say Ko Hansu's name. When she learns the man won't marry Sunja, her mother collapses, hugging Sunja and crying. Their entire conversation is overheard by Isaac in the next room. He gets up and changes his clothes. Then he thanks Sunja's mother. Isaac wants to go to town to send a telegram to his family. Sunja's mother worries about him going alone, so she asks Sunja to guide him. When they reach the harbor, they meet Ko Hansu. Ko Hansu stares coldly at Sunja and at Isaac in his suit, standing beside her. It's like his bad thoughts about Sunja are confirmed. He thinks she's trying to trick innocent men into marriage. Sunja seems to understand what Ko Hansu is thinking. She quickly takes Isaac into a Japanese noodle shop. The waiter brings them noodles. Isaac invites Sunja to pray together while eating. Isaac puts down his chopsticks and tells Sunja he already knows about her pregnancy. He asks if she's thought about letting someone else raise the baby, because having a child without being married will bring her terrible shame. But Sunja says she'll accept all the consequences. Just like her father protected her, she will protect and raise this child. Even if her back aches and she goes hungry, she'll never let her child worry about survival. This is her promise to her unborn baby. Isaac is deeply moved by Sunja's words. He asks Sunja, if there's someone who doesn't mind that you're carrying another man's child and wants to take you far away to start a new life, could you forget that man and learn to love this person? Try to love that person. Sunja looks at the devoted Isaac with tears in her eyes. She nods just like that. They agree to marry. Isaac goes to a tailor to alter his old suit for the wedding. But Ko Hansu walks in and sees him filled with jealousy. Hansu cruelly mocks Isaac for being poor. He even offers to buy him a new suit to humiliate him. Isaac realizes Hansu must be the father of Sunja's baby. Calmly Isaac says he'll buy his own clothes. Then he tells the tailor he needs a new suit for his wedding. The old one will be altered for his unborn son. This quietly insults Hansu back. After Isaac leaves, Hansu's face burns with anger. A few days later Isaac takes Sunja and her mother to church. They marry with a priest's blessing. On their wedding night Sunja's mother gives them precious white rice as a gift. It's the last time Sunja tastes her homeland's food. While waiting to leave for Osaka, Sunja visits the familiar market, thinking she may never see it again. Her heart aches with longing. Suddenly a Japanese soldier takes Sunja to Ko Hansu's office. Inside, Ko Hansu mocks Sunja for finally finding a fool to take her in. He keeps insulting Isaac. Hearing Ko Hansu insult her husband, Sunja fights back. He is my husband now. He did what you couldn't. Ko Hansu wants to scare Sunja into staying. He tells her life in Osaka with Isaac will be very hard. Her child will suffer with them. Ko Hansu offers her one last chance to stay. He even claims Sunja would have a better life with him than with Isaac. Sunja stares at him and says he only brought her shame. Her child has nothing to do with him. She will go to Osaka with her husband and raise her child. Well, angry, Ko Hansu grabs her by the neck. He threatens her, saying she will beg him for help in Osaka one day. Sunja doesn't reply. She pulls away from him and walks out without looking back. After Sunja leaves, Ko Hansa drops his tough act. Tears fill his eyes. The next day, Sunja leaves for Osaka with her family's blessings. While waiting for the boat, Sunja's mother holds her hand and teaches her the ways of being a wife and mother. Finally, she takes out jewelry she has kept for years and gives it to Sunja as savings. Sunja tells her mother to keep it because she has a pocket watch Ko Hansa gave her. Her mother realizes the watch must be from the baby's father. She quickly tells Sunja to hide it. She urges Sunja to forget this man. Sunja nods tearfully. The boarding bell rings and the moment of parting arrives. Sunja and her mother hug tightly, crying together. Leave all your tears here. I hope you won't cry anymore over there. Sunja and Isaac arrive in Osaka, Japan. They go to live with Isaac's older brother and his wife. Sunja feels uneasy as soon as she steps off the boat. Isaac's brother takes them on a bus. The streets of Osaka are bright with lights and crowded with people. Workers are building Asia's second subway line nearby. The bus moves through the busy traffic. Sunja feels like she has stepped into the future. Soon they reach the neighborhood where Isaac's brother lives. The area is filled with laborers from Korea, but compared to the streets before, this place feels like a sewer. Dirty water and animal waste flow everywhere on the ground. A few pigs roam freely in the alley raised by an old neighbor. When Sunja and Isaac enter the house, Kyung-hee has already prepared a meal to welcome them. Even though their living conditions are tough, Kyung-hee still makes sure to cook white rice from their homeland for Sunja. Sunja looks at the bowl of rice and finally breaks down in tears, overwhelmed by homesickness. Their first day in this foreign land comes to an end. On the surface, Isaac's brother acts polite towards Sunja, but in private he criticizes her. He suspects the child in Sunja's belly is not Isaac's. He thinks his kind brother has been tricked into raising another man's child. Kyung-hee quickly scolds her husband for his harsh words, but she can't completely dismiss his suspicions either. After all, they know nothing about Sunja. In the next room, Sunja and Isaac overhear his brother's words. I don't think we're welcome here. Isaac comforts Sunja. Others may think he saved Sunja from a tragic fate, but only Isaac knows the truth. Sunja is strong and brave. She not only saved his life, but also helped him find the courage he had lost. No matter what his brother and sister-in-law think, he will always cherish Sunja and their unborn child. Sunja is deeply moved by Isaac's sincerity. Isaac leans down and kisses her. A month passes quickly. Soon a month has gone by. Sunja feels sleepy all the time because of her pregnancy. She feels guilty and goes outside to help Kyung-hee with housework. While hanging clothes, she notices that all the clothes she brought from her hometown have been washed by Kyung-hee. She hugs the clothes and cries sadly. Now that these clothes are washed, she can no longer smell the scent of her hometown. Kyung-hee feels terrible and apologizes to Sunja. This homesickness, pain, when will it stop? It won't stop, but you'll learn to live with it. Trust me. After Sunja calms down, two loan collectors suddenly come to Kyung-hee's door, demanding 160 yen her husband owes them. Kyung-hee has never had debt collectors visit before and doesn't know when her husband borrowed money. The collectors tell Kyung-hee her husband borrowed money 2 months ago because his brother got married and needed an extra boat ticket for his new sister-in-law to come to Osaka. Sunja realizes this debt is because of her and immediately says she'll bring money to pay it today. After the collectors leave, Sunja decides to pawn the gold pocket watch Ko Hansu gave her to get money for the debt. But Kyung-hee stops Sunja from paying. Kyung-hee thinks women shouldn't handle such things. Sunja says if they don't pay quickly, the debt will only grow bigger until they lose their home. Besides, this debt exists because of her. Kyung-hee is convinced. They go to the pawn shop together. Seeing their women, the owner tries to trick Sunja by offering just 41. But Sunja grew up in the markets and won't be fooled so easily. She knows exactly what the gold watch is worth. She firmly demands 301 and won't back down. The owner finally agrees and pays for the watch with the money. They hurry to the loan company to repay the debt. But Kyung-hee stops walking, too scared to go on. Kyung-hee says, let's give the money to your brother to repay it. Dirty work like this should be done by men, not us. Sunja asks, do you really think he'd accept this money from me? I'll go. You wait at home. Seeing Sunja go alone makes Kyung-hee even more afraid. Kyung-hee tells Sunja she used to be a rich man's daughter. She never washed clothes, cooked, or even handled money. Every day here is a struggle to learn and adapt. But Sunja adjusted in just weeks. Sunja's strong survival skills make Kyung-hee feel even weaker. When trouble comes, she only feels fear. Sunja gently takes Kyung-hee's hand. Then let's face this fear together. Maybe that way we'll be stronger. Kyung-hee asks, do you really think so? Sunja answers yes. The two women go to the loan company together. When they get the repayment receipt, they feel a huge relief in their hearts. Holding hands, they walk through the busy market toward home. But at the same time, Ko Hansu appears at the pawn shop to buy back the pocket watch. He returned to Osaka because he was worried about Sunja. He also guessed she would sell the watch for money. She married a dreamer, a man weaker than her. Sunja and Kyung-hee get scolded by their brother for selling the watch to pay his debt. He feels ashamed that women had to save him. Sunja says it was all her idea. This makes him angrier. He even suspects the watch was stolen. He storms out, ignoring Kyung-hee's pleas. When Kyung-hee returns, she finds Sunja's water has broken. With no experience, she doesn't know what to do. Isaac comes home just then, but Sunja, despite the pain, tells Isaac to go find her brother first. She and Kyung-hee will handle the birth. Sunja's cries of pain attract an old neighbor. The woman scolds her for disturbing their rest, but seeing Sunja in labor, she quickly helps. Using her experience delivering piglets, she helps Sunja give birth to a baby boy. Meanwhile, Isaac finds his brother at a bar. When Isaac's brother hears Sunja is giving birth, he just freezes for a moment. Isaac sits down and drinks with his brother. Instead, the bar is full of Korean workers. Halfway through drinking, they suddenly start singing a Korean folk song together. The song makes Isaac feel proud of his people, but the singing quickly brings Japanese soldiers. They rudely treat the Koreans like criminals, searching them. Isaac feels anger rising inside him. At this moment, his spirit to resist awakens. On the way home, his brother keeps complaining about Sunja. Isaac sternly warns him to stop speaking badly of her. Sunja saved his life and kept him safe until today. She gave his life, meaning he wants to spend the rest of his life working for her and their child. Seeing Isaac's seriousness, his brother finally stops arguing. When they return home, Sunja has already given birth safely. Sunja hands the baby to Isaac. She asks his brother to name the child, since he is the head of the family. With shaking hands, his brother takes the baby and names him Noah. Soon Ko Hansu hears about Sunja giving birth to a son. He tells his wife he now has an heir and she no longer needs to act as his wife. His wife laughs coldly. She says their marriage has always been a curse. Now this freedom feels like a small comfort, but it comes too late. She mocks Ko Hansu, even though he has a son now. If that boy ever learns what kind of man Ko Hansu is, he might not want to call him father. These words sting Ko Hansu deeply. 7 years pass in a flash. Sunja and Isaac now have a second child, Mosesu. Noah is old enough to start school. Isaac keeps his promise. He treats Noah as his own and loves him dearly. The family lives a simple life in Osaka's poor neighborhood. But one day Noah notices his father is late to pick him up from school. He waits for an hour. Noah runs home and tells Sunja. Sunja rushes with Noah to the church to ask about Isaac. They learn he was reported for political reasons and arrested by the police. Panicked, Sunja sends Noah to fetch his uncle from the factory for help. When Noah's uncle arrives, they go to the police station. Noah bravely translates for Sunja. The police refuse to release Isaac. They tell them to wait at home. Noah's uncle hurries back to the factory to ask his boss for help. But when the boss hears Isaac was arrested for political crimes, he fires Noah's uncle on the spot. Meanwhile, Sunja sees a Korean woman bringing food to the police station. She asks the woman and learns that her husband was also arrested 3 months ago. When the woman finds out Sunja is Isaac's wife, she quickly pulls Sunja to a quiet corner. She tells Sunja that Isaac was arrested for secretly joining a resistance group's activities. Sunja looks shocked. She never heard Isaac mention these things. The woman then takes Sunja to meet the group's leaders, Hasegawa, and his daughter. Here Sunja discovers Isaac hid the fact that he called Koreans to fight against the emperor. Hasegawa tells Sunja Isaac was betrayed and may never return. As soon as he says this, police rush in and arrest everyone. Sunja is questioned by the police. Luckily, they see she can't read or write, so she couldn't write anti-emperor articles. They let her go. Sunja and Noah leave the police station just as Isaac is pushed into a police van. Noah runs through the fence toward Isaac, but the van speeds away, leaving them behind. They don't know where fate will take them that night without Isaac. Sunja stays awake early the next morning. She trades the ring her mother gave her. For money, she buys a big bucket of cabbage. From today, she will support the family by selling kimchi. Kyung-hee sees this and worries that Joseph will get angry. Sure enough, Joseph is furious when he learns Sunja plans to sell kimchi. He thinks Sunja looks down on him. He believes she doubts his ability to find work and support the family. Sunja says they have no income now. She just wants to feed her 2 children. Joseph finally stops arguing. Kyung-hee helps Sunja prepare the kimchi soon. They fill a whole cart with kimchi. From now on, Sunja will sell the kimchi. Kyung-hee stays home to help take care of Mosesu. The next day, Noah walks to school alone. Ko Han-soo suddenly appears and talks to Noah. He clearly knows about the troubles in Sunja's family. Ko Han-soo tells Noah, "A person shouldn't live like a cockroach, just surviving. You must be better than everyone around you, not just Koreans, but also the Japanese. Be so good. They can't deny what you deserve. When they see you rise, they will hate you. But even if they hate you, they'll have to respect you." Finally, he warns Noah, "In this world you must take shortcuts to succeed." Then he hands Noah a handkerchief wrapped around a pocket watch. "Noah, don't live like a fool." Sunja pushes her kimchi cart onto the street. After searching for a while, she finally finds a spot. Hearing the shouts of other sellers around her, Sunja bravely steps into the middle of the market. She calls out loudly to the passing crowd. Customers start coming over. Sunja gets busy serving them. This marks the end of Season 1 of Pachinko. Season 2 jumps to 1945, just before Japan surrenders. 7 years have passed since Season 1. During these years, Sunja's husband remains in prison. Sunja and her sister-in-law Kyung-hee work hard to support the family. They sell kimchi at the market to make ends meet. Now their eldest son, Noah, is in middle school, and their younger son, Mosesu, starts elementary school. Ever since Sunja began selling kimchi, a Korean man named Mr. Kim often comes to buy from her. Sunja has become friends with him. Today, when Mr. Kim comes again, Sunja tells him this is her last batch of kimchi. Because of the war, food and supplies are very scarce at the market. She and Kyung-hee can hardly find cabbage to make kimchi. What will you do? We'll figure it out. We always find a way. After Mr. Kim leaves, Mosesu watches his back and tells Sunja, Mr. Kim is definitely a spy. But Sunja sternly tells her son not to say such things. Suddenly, a large group of American planes flies overhead. At that time, the U.S. often bombed Japan to force Japan to surrender. When people see the American planes, they panic and rush to hide. But the planes drop leaflets instead of bombs. The leaflets urge Japanese citizens to ask the emperor to end the war. If Japan doesn't surrender, things will get worse. What does this mean? How could things get worse? Mom, don't you see the U.S. Army is coming? Sunja's heart fills with worry. She can only pray for the war to end soon. She hopes the bombs never come. Besides the fear of war and struggle to survive, Sunja's family, as Koreans in Japan, also faces racism and rejection. They must use Japanese names. They are forbidden to speak Korean in public. At school, this discrimination is everywhere. During lunchtime, Japanese classmates mock the Korean kids, saying their food is pig slop. Most Korean children stay silent. But Mosesu inherits his father's rebellious spirit. He stands tall on a table and tells them the Japanese students below have to look up at him. Then he passionately describes the food from his hometown. Listen up, you all should learn from this. The Korean students below listen carefully, but the Japanese students laugh even louder. Mosesu doesn't care at all, even when the teacher punishes him by making him face the Japanese flag. Nothing can erase his natural rebellious spirit. But Noah reacts differently to the Japanese students. No matter how harsh their insults are, no matter how painful their words sound, Noah hides his anger and pretends not to care. More than the annoying Japanese students, Noah is angrier that the teacher lets them bully him. The church uncle says he understands Noah's anger because all Koreans face the same struggles. They are not accepted by the Japanese, and there are conflicts among their own people. The root of this is their identity crisis. This crisis also exists in Ko Han-soo. Even though he has power and status in Japan, Ko Han-soo supplies the Japanese military for his family business. But no matter how loyal he acts, the Japanese still mock him for being Korean. They make things difficult for him. Any Japanese person at the table can freely insult Ko Han-soo's dignity. His father-in-law stops his angry fist and tells him to step outside to cool down. Ko Han-soo goes to the yard and overhears his father-in-law, stops his angry fist, and tells him to go outside for some air. Han-soo steps into the yard, but overhears 2 Japanese officers talking. They have news that the U.S. Army may bomb Osaka in a few days. For safety, they've already sent their families to the countryside. Han-soo frowns with worry. His first thought is of Sunja. As bombings continue, the Japanese government splits into surrender and fight factions. The Fight faction plans to sacrifice ordinary people by forcing them into battle. Koreans are especially targeted as cannon fodder. Sunja doesn't realize the war is coming. She's more worried about how to feed her family after selling the last of her kimchi. A fellow Korean woman notices her struggle. She visits Sunja's home and suggests making rice wine to sell on the black market. Sunja is shocked. Selling rice wine is illegal. But the woman says desperately, she has no choice. She used to wash clothes to barely feed her 3 kids and husband. Now no one hires her anymore. She knows Sunja's kimchi is almost gone too. If they don't take this risk, they'll starve. But no matter how much the woman pleads, Sunja refuses to break the law. But when Sunja sees the empty kimchi jar and her 2 children, she finally decides to take the risk and sell rice wine with the woman. She tells Kyung-hee about her decision. At first, Kyung-hee disagrees with Sunja's dangerous plan. But after Sunja persuades her she agrees, she will take care of the 2 children at home. Sunja promises not to get caught. Early next morning, Sunja and her neighbor quietly make the wine. Bomber planes roar in the sky. Sunja comforts the neighbor saying it's just a military drill, not a real attack. 2 days later, they finish the first batch of rice wine. Since the neighbor has no one to watch her child, Sunja must sell the wine alone at the black market. The woman feels guilty for not going with her. Sunja tells her not to worry. She is good at buying and selling. But Sunja's first day goes badly. Japanese officers raid the black market. Sunja and many other vendors are arrested and taken to the police station. The woman rushes to tell Kyung-hee the news. Kyung-hee leaves the children and goes to the station but gets nowhere. She returns home only in the morning. Kyung-hee calms herself and tells the kids not to worry. She will keep trying to get information at the station. The judge sentences each person one by one when it's Sunja's turn. But the judge lets Sunja go without punishment. Sunja is very confused. She doesn't dare to ask questions and leaves outside the police station. She sees Mr. Kim. Mr. Kim tells her to get in the car. He wants to take her to meet someone. Sunja has many questions in her mind. Mr. Kim says Sunja will understand everything once she meets that person. Still confused, Sunja arrives at a luxurious Japanese villa. A maid leads Sunja to a room. To her surprise, Ko Han-soo is waiting inside. Seeing him after so many years, Sunja freezes in shock. Sunja asks, "How did you find me?" Ko Han-soo replies, "I didn't need to find you. I always knew where you were. Mr. Kim works for me." Ko Han-soo says he has always had Mr. Kim watch over Sunja and Noah's lives. Sunja looks troubled. She realizes Ko Han-soo has seen everything about her life. She asks him, "What do you want?" Ko Han-soo says, "This place will be bombed soon." Sunja replies, "People have been saying that for years." Ko Han-soo says this is military intelligence he received. He adds that the bombing will target everything. The whole area will be destroyed. He has already prepared a safe place in the countryside for Sunja's family. But Sunja refuses his offer without hesitation. Sunja says, "I won't leave my husband in jail." Ko Han-soo says, "You still don't understand me." Ko Han-soo stands up angrily because Sunja refuses him. He thinks Sunja is defying him just to stay with her husband. Ko Han-soo says, "You'd risk your child's life for a useless man in prison." Sunja says, "I won't leave him. I won't." Ko Han-soo asks, "You really care about him, don't you?" Sunja can't look Ko Han-soo in the eye anymore. She doesn't answer him. Instead, she turns and walks away at home. Noah is doing homework when the door bursts open. A skinny, half-dead man falls inside. Noah screams for Aunt Kyung-hee. The man on the floor speaks weakly. The man says, "Noah, is that you?" Noah realizes this man is his father, Isaac, who was taken 7 years ago. Kyung-hee trembles as she confirms it's really Isaac, but he looks nothing like he did 7 years ago. Without looking closely, no one would recognize him. Soon Sunja rushes home. Kyung-hee says, "Prepare yourself." Sunja takes a deep breath and opens the door, but Isaac's appearance shocks her. Sunja asks, "Who is it?" Isaac says, "It's me. It's me, Sunja." She can't imagine the pain Isaac has been through. She tries to comfort him, saying he's safe now. But Isaac feels guilty for being gone for 7 years. Sunja doesn't blame him at all. Instead, she tells him how Yoseb and Kyung-hee took care of her and the children all these years. Yoseb worked in Nagasaki to support the family. Kyung-hee helped her raise the kids. Hearing Yoseb's name, Isaac starts coughing badly. Sunja realizes he's very sick. She helps him lie down and quickly decides to find a doctor. But Kyung-hee says most doctors are sent to the front lines. A few remain at hospitals, but they can't get one without connections. Kyung-hee thinks they should just stay and comfort Isaac in his final days. But Sunja refuses to give up. She believes if they find a doctor, Isaac can still recover. Seeing her determination, Kyung-hee stops arguing. Kyung-hee asks Noah to send a telegram to Yoseb in Nagasaki. She tells him to come see Isaac right away. But Noah says he'll go to the church to find Pastor Hu. Seeing everyone busy, Mosesu volunteers to send the telegram to Yoseb. Kyung-hee asks, "Do you understand how important this is?" Mosesu replies, "I can do it. I'll make sure Uncle gets the telegram." Kyung-hee gives Mosesu the note and some coins. Mosesu runs to the post office with the items. The clerk thinks he's joking, since he's shorter than the counter. But seeing Mosesu seriously take out the coins, the clerk quickly writes the telegram and asks Mosesu to check it. The telegram says, "Isaac is home. He is dying." Mosesu feels sad when he sees the word dying, but he holds back tears and nods to confirm. The telegram is sent to Uncle. Sunja knows only Ko Hansu can find a doctor. She goes straight to Ko Hansu's mansion and explains why she's there. Sunja says, "Isaac needs a doctor. That's why I'm here." Ko Hansu says, "Your priority is to leave the city with your children." Sunja says, "You didn't even ask who I came for. Seems you already know." Ko Hansu admits he bribed the guards to free Isaac. He knew Sunja would come to ask for a doctor. His plan is to use this to make a deal with her. Ko Hansu says, "You must be desperate to come to me." Sunja says yes. Seeing Sunja bow for another man makes Ko Hansu feel bitter. He agrees to find a doctor for her, but in return, no matter what happens to Isaac, Sunja must take her child and go with Ko Hansu to hide in the countryside to save Isaac. Sunja has no choice but to agree. When Mosesu gets home, he stays by Isaac's side without leaving. Isaac tries his best to teach his son many important lessons. While they talk happily, the house suddenly loses power. Maybe remembering his time in prison, Isaac becomes very nervous. All at once Mosesu notices Isaac's fear. Mosesu gives Isaac a toy airplane. Mosesu says, "Now Dad won't be scared." Isaac says, "Thank you, son." Just then Noah returns with Pastor Hu. Isaac asks Noah to stay in the room too. Then he asks Pastor Hu, "Why did you report me 7 years ago?" Noah looks at Pastor Hu in shock. After hearing this, Pastor Hu admits he was the one who reported Isaac. Pastor Hu says, "Back then I was jealous of Isaac because everyone respected and loved him." Noah's whole world falls apart. Noah never expected that the man who always taught him to help and love others would betray his father out of jealousy. It destroyed their family. What hurts Noah even more is that his father forgives Pastor Hu. Angry, Noah kicks Pastor Hu out of the house. Isaac feels his life is coming to an end. He calls both sons to his side. He asks them to remember 2 things. Always keep kindness in your hearts, and no matter what happens, Isaac will always be their father. They will always be Isaac's sons. Noah and Mosesu don't fully understand these words yet, but these words will become their strength and belief. Sunja returns with the doctor. The doctor examines Isaac for a long time. Finally, he tells Sunja with a heavy heart that Isaac suffered terrible treatment in prison. He not only has severe lung disease, but also deadly blood poisoning. Isaac is barely holding on now. At best, he has only a few hours left. All they can do now is say goodbye. Sunja stands frozen, taking a long time to process this. She enters the room and lies beside Isaac, just like their first night in Osaka 14 years ago. Isaac apologizes for failing to protect Sunja. He says she suffered too much. He hopes that after he's gone she will find someone to lean on. Sunja says, "Don't talk like that. You have so much love. I know it well. To be loved by my husband. To have you in my life. My life has meaning." Sunja tells Isaac not to worry. She promises to raise their 2 children well. She will give them a good life. Isaac looks at Sunja gently and stops speaking. Finally, he closes his eyes peacefully. Sunja can no longer hold back her tears. The next day Sunja holds a funeral for Isaac with her family, but during the cremation an air raid siren suddenly blares over the radio. The American military is attacking. Everyone runs in panic. Sunja stares at the half-burned coffin and refuses to leave. Sunja says, "My husband is still here. No, I can't leave my husband behind." For the safety of her children and Kyung-hee, Sunja has no choice but to flee to the countryside with Ko Hansu. Ko Hansu and Mr. Kim arrive by car to pick up Sunja's family. Kyung-hee sees Ko Hansu for the first time. She wonders how Sunja knows such a well-dressed man. Sunja doesn't have time to explain. She just assures Kyung-hee that Ko Hansu can be trusted. Sunja's 2 children also stare at Ko Hansu curiously. But the most important thing now is to pack and leave quickly. Sunja and her sons gather some essentials. Kyung-hee cares most about the paintings her husband brought from North Korea. She struggles to dig a hole in the kitchen to hide them. Mr. Kim grows impatient. He tells her to pack. Instead, he will bury the paintings for her. After packing up, the family gets in the car. Outside, scared people are running everywhere. They are trying to escape the danger. The car window separates two different worlds of fate. Under Ko Hansu's protection, Sunja's family sits safely inside. They are the lucky ones. Right after they escape the city, bombs fall like rain and destroy everything behind them. Many people who couldn't escape die in the flames. The car drives all night until morning. When they reach a quiet village, the place is too broken to live in. Ko Hansu says he has arranged for supplies to be sent here for safety. He will have Mr. Kim stay here to take care of them. Kyung-hee strongly disagrees. She thinks living with a strange man is improper. Her husband would be furious if he found out. In times like these, people change. You never know what desperate people might do. Listen to me, Ko Hansu says. Mr. Kim must stay. I trust him. Facing reality, Sunja and Kyung-hee have no choice but to accept his plan. But Sunja still has another worry. She wants Ko Hansu to stay away from Noah. She fears Noah might realize that Ko Hansu is his father. Ko Hansu says, he would never guess. Sunja says, it's too dangerous. Ko Hansu says, do you think I'd put my own son in danger? Sunja says, how can I be sure? You talk as if we know each other well deep down. Sunja still hasn't forgiven Ko Hansu for hurting her 14 years ago. Sunja's family has settled into a routine. Mr. Kim has become part of their daily lives, helping Sunja and Kyung-hee with chores. But Noah thinks they don't belong here cleaning up after chickens. He wants the war to end soon so they can return home. Mosesu likes their new life, though he's grateful Ko Hansu brought them here. If Mom had introduced them to Ko Hansu earlier, they could have eaten more candy. Just as he mentions candy, Ko Hansu arrives with sweets for them. He also brings a radio. The family cheers at the music. Ko Hansu even brings newspapers for Noah, hoping he'll learn to read between the lines. Ko Hansu proudly says he'll teach them to fly it. The boy's eyes light up with excitement. Without a doubt, Ko Hansu is acting more like a father every day. But Sunja watches with worry in her heart. Sunja asks, what are you doing? Ko Hansu replies, Sunja, every boy should learn to fly a kite. Sunja follows them to the river to fly the kite together. As the kite soars freely in the sky, Sunja's worries fade away for a moment. Suddenly, American planes fly overhead. This means the American bombing has started again. Kyung-hee is too nervous to speak. She fears the planes are heading for Nagasaki, where her husband is. Mr. Kim comforts her. Nagasaki is in the opposite direction. At least these planes aren't targeting Nagasaki yet. Kyung-hee stays silent. She goes home alone to calm herself. That night, Kyung-hee prepares clothes to send to her husband. Sunja urges her to wait until morning since it's late, but Kyung-hee insists on going to the post office. Now she feels guilty, living safely here while her husband faces danger alone in Nagasaki. The thought fills her with sadness. Early the next morning, Mosesu notices fewer eggs in the chicken coop. He suspects a thief is stealing them. The foreman is furious about it. Mr. Kim suggests they keep watch at night to catch the thief. Kyung-hee has never done anything like this before. She finds it exciting and insists on joining them. That night, Mr. Kim takes Mosesu, Noah, and Kyung-hee to hide near the coop and wait for the thief. Noah takes this chance to ask Mr. Kim how he first met Ko Hansu. Mr. Kim says they met 15 years ago. He had just arrived in Osaka then. Young and angry, he caused a lot of trouble. That's when he met Ko Hansu. Why are you so full of anger? Mr. Kim's family once ran a small farm in Korea, but the Japanese took it from them. Life became very hard for his family. His younger siblings were sold away. His mother grew cold toward his father. His father couldn't take it and killed himself in the fields. After that, Mr. Kim came to Osaka, but the Japanese still treated him badly there. Back then he hated the Japanese deeply. Mr. Kim tears up as he shares this. Kyung-hee watches him silently, feeling mixed emotions. Just then figures appear near the chicken coop. Mr. Kim quickly leads the three of them to surround the area. They only catch one boy. In the end, Noah realizes it's his Japanese classmate. This boy used to bully him at school. The boy says their shelter has no food, so they came to steal eggs. Mr. Kim lets Noah decide what to do with him. Mosesu thinks Noah should take revenge. But Noah remembers his father's last words. He tells Mr. Kim to let the boy go. Mr. Kim approves of Noah's choice. He also lets the boy take all the remaining eggs home. Mosesu says, how could you let him go? You had a chance to get back at him. Mr. Kim says, Your brother did the right thing. It's better to have your enemy owe you than the other way around. I think Noah already understands this. Mosesu asks, really? I should remember that too. The family happily heads home late at night. Kyung-hee tosses and turns, unable to sleep. She gets up and takes her husband's clothes for a walk by the river. She finds Mr. Kim standing there drinking. Mr. Kim turns and notices Kyung-hee. Suddenly the sound of bombs echoes in the sky. What will happen between them now? Ko Hansu brings Sunja's mother all the way from Busan to Osaka to reunite with Sunja. When Sunja sees her mother step out of the car, she can't believe her eyes. After a moment of staring, they run toward each other after more than 10 years apart. Only in this tight hug do they believe it's real. Ko Hansu watches them from afar, deeply moved. This is the best way he can make it up to Sunja. That evening the adults prepare a reunion dinner. It's Noah and Mosesu's first time meeting their grandmother. Mosesu asks her to tell him a story about her journey to Osaka. She says it was very difficult. They were packed tightly on a small ship. The small ship rocks up and down in the huge waves. It feels terrible, but Mosesu, who has never been on a ship before, thinks it's an adventure. Mosesu also wants to take a ship to Africa to see lions. Grandmother doesn't know where Africa is. She holds her grandson's hands and says seriously, you must never forget. You are Korean. You are Korean in your bones. If we're not Korean, then what else could we be? That's true, you're right. When dinner is ready, Noah leads the family in prayer. As they start eating, Ko Hansu arrives. Sunja's mother excitedly thanks Ko Hansu. He sent people to Busan to search for her. After a long time they finally brought her here. Sunja is so grateful that she invites Ko Hansu to eat with them. Ko Hansu wants to feel the warmth of a family meal. He sits across from Noah and eats with Sunja's family after dinner. Noah copies words from a newspaper. Sunja watches her son write and feels emotional. When she was little, she and her mother had a big fight about going to school. Back then, education was a luxury. Noah offers to teach Sunja how to read. Sunja says, it's too late for me to learn now. Now it's your turn to study hard. Understand, the hot summer night makes it hard to sleep. Sunja and Kyung-hee step outside to get some fresh air. On the way, Sunja meets Ko Hansu coming from the village. Sunja thanks Ko Hansu again. Ko Hansu looks at Sunja and suddenly asks, do you want to try driving? Sunja finds it unbelievable. How can someone like me drive? But Ko Hansu says Sunja is smart enough to learn quickly. After hesitating, Sunja agrees she wants to prove herself. Ko Hansu explains the basics and lets her take the wheel. Sunja keeps making mistakes because she's too nervous. Ko Hansu says, you're really bad at this. His words push Sunja to try harder. She steadies herself and drives smoothly out of the field. Now you're doing well. Kyung-hee goes to the river on purpose. As expected, she meets Mr. Kim again. She wants to talk to him, but when he approaches she panics and makes an excuse to leave. Mr. Kim says, if this were North Korea, I wouldn't even be allowed to speak to someone like you. But here, we live on the same farm. Kyung-hee smiles softly, but she still wants to go back to her old life. Mr. Kim says, if you go back, maybe it will ease your sadness. Kyung-hee asks, my sadness? Mr. Kim says, your eyes are full of sorrow. It feels very heavy to me. Because I can't help it all. I crossed the line again. Mr. Kim knows Kyung-hee still thinks about her husband, so he is always careful around her. But when he sees the foreman scolding Kyung-hee in the field, he steps in without hesitation to stop him. The foreman gets angry and turns to scold Mr. Kim. Kyung-hee worries the foreman will cause trouble for Mr. Kim, so she quickly tries to calm things down. Deep down, both of them have feelings they can't explain. But Kyung-hee still has a husband in Nagasaki, so whenever she notices herself showing the wrong emotions, she firmly draws a line with Mr. Kim. She says, just because we shared stories doesn't mean we're friends. Sunja accidentally drives the car into a ditch. They have to push the car out with all their strength. After working so hard, they feel relieved. Their eyes meet, and the look between them becomes tender. Ko Hansu can't help himself and kisses Sunja. Sunja doesn't pull away, but the moment is quickly interrupted by sudden noise. Sunja says, we can't do this. Ko Hansu says, Sunja. Ko Hansu says, you and I, no matter what others say, we belong together. I'm sure. Sunja says, you have a family and my husband just died. Ko Hansu says, he's gone. You don't owe him anything. Sunja says, you're wrong. He gave me everything I have. Ko Hansu says, then, how long will you keep paying him back? Tell me, how long will you stay alone? You deserve happiness too. You don't have to give up everything. Everything I do is for you and Noah. All of it. I know you feel it in your heart too, my heart. Sunja says, it's too late now. Sunja walks away without looking back. This moment feels just like 14 years ago, the day Sunja first rejected Ko Hansu. Ko Hansu finally understands. Nothing he does can win Sunja's heart back. Sunja runs home and sees her mother still awake. Her mother already knows Ko Hansu is Noah's real father. She warns Sunja never to let Noah find out. Sunja says, don't worry, I remember who I used to be. Ko Hansu drives home angrily. On the way he crashes into the foreman's car. He gets out and beats up the foreman to let out his anger. Noah sees him acting violently. Noah's image of Ko Hansu as kind and perfect completely falls apart. Noah can't handle this sudden change. A friend sees Noah leaving and calls his name. This snaps Ko Hansu out of his violent state. He realizes his son saw him like this. He panics and doesn't know what to do. On this seemingly quiet night, everyone's heart changes completely. Soon autumn arrives. Everyone at the farm is busy with the harvest. The desires in their hearts, still hot from summer, are about to burst out. After the harvest, the barn is full. Now they have free time for the whole winter. But that night Sunja's family barn burns down. They watch the flames helplessly. The fire burns until dawn. All their hard work for the year turns to ashes. Kyung-hee looks at the ruined barn with mixed feelings. Mr. Kim follows her worriedly. They walk into the woods before stopping. Kyung-hee can't understand why this happened to them. They worked so hard and prayed so faithfully, yet this still happened. How could this happen? Mr. Kim says, I don't know. Kyung-hee asks, why did you come here? Did I ask you to follow me? He replies, you know why. Mr. Kim says he doesn't believe in God or an afterlife. He says life only happens once. They can't change their situation or avoid disasters, but at least they can control their own hearts. They can live by their own choices. If the Americans come today, if they drop bombs on us right here, can I say I lived a good life, a happy life? Can you? Kyung-hee finally lets go of her long-held stubbornness to force Japan to surrender. The U.S. drops an atomic bomb on Nagasaki. Sunja's older brother, Yoseb, miraculously survives the attack. Ko Hansu sends men to bring Yoseb back. Yoseb's face is badly burned and he can't move his body. Ko Hansu stays at the house until he wakes up. Yoseb looks at Ko Hansu's fine clothes. He guesses this is the family friend Kyung-hee mentioned in her letters. Ko Hansu tells him Japan has surrendered and the war is over. He'll take their family back once Osaka calms down. For now, Yoseb stays at his farm to recover. Yoseb stares at Ko Hansu for a long time. He decides this must be Noah's real father. Why else would a man like Ko Hansu help them? Ko Hansu stays silent, confirming it. Yoseb says, you have no right to go near him. Ko Hansu says, I have every right. He's my son. Yoseb says, my brother raised him. Ko Hansu says, your brother left him nothing. Hearing this from Ko Hansu, Yoseb feels deeply humiliated. Yoseb warns Ko Hansu not to even think about seeing Noah. He says he will protect his family's honor, even if it costs him his life. Ko Hansu doesn't argue with Yoseb. Instead, he picks up a mirror and forces Yoseb to see his own situation clearly. Ko Hansu says, I saved you, just like I saved others, not out of kindness, only because of Sunja and Noah. They are mine. Ko Hansu says, the sooner you understand this, the easier your life will be. Before leaving, Ko Hansu tells Kyung-hee to take good care of Yoseb. Noah sees Ko Hansu but silently walks away. Ko Hansu knows Noah is still upset about what happened that night. His violent actions are now deeply etched in Noah's mind. Soon after, Sunja's family and Mr. Kim pack their things to return to Osaka. While recovering, Yoseb's personality changes completely when Kyung-hee's hand shakes while removing his bandages. He yells at her angrily and sends her away. Then he calls Sunja over. Sunja asks, are you okay? Yoseb replies, I'm fine. After packing their things, Sunja's family leaves the countryside and returns to their home in Osaka. The place is now in ruins after the bombing. Kyung-hee's first task is to find the paintings they buried earlier. Mr. Kim quickly helps her dig them up. Kyung-hee cries with joy as she holds the paintings. Yoseb watches them from the car with mixed feelings. 5 years pass quickly. Sunja and her mother set up a stall at the market. They sell noodles to support the family. Noah works at the telegraph office while studying for college. Mosesu, the younger son, has an easier life. He can sleep late and argue with the adults. Kyung-hee's main job is taking care of the family. Yoseb never works again. After his face is badly hurt, he stays alone upstairs feeling sad. Every day, Kyung-hee asks Noah to bring meals upstairs to Yoseb. She listens carefully for any sound from him. Most of the time Yoseb sends the food back without touching it. Kyung-hee sighs helplessly. She wonders how long she must endure this cold treatment. Mr. Kim sees everything Kyung-hee goes through. He lives next door looking after Sunja's family for Ko Han-soo. He wants to help Kyung-hee, but his position makes it impossible. This troubles him deeply, so he asks Ko Han-soo to let him leave the family. Ko Han-soo says he must wait until Noah gets into college. Mr. Kim asks, "What if Noah fails?" Ko Han-soo replies, "That won't happen." Mr. Kim asks, "Will you pull strings for him?" Ko Han-soo firmly says he would do anything for Noah, but he won't interfere with Noah's college entrance exam. He wants to see Noah's real ability. He agrees to let Mr. Kim leave Sunja's family after Noah gets into college. Before leaving, Mr. Kim tells Ko Han-soo Sunja is preparing to open a noodle shop. He thinks Han-soo could help her. Han-soo thinks deeply about this. He knows Sunja won't easily accept his help. Noah and Sunja set up their market stall. Early in the morning, a kind customer, Mr. Go-To, hears about Sunja's noodle shop plan. He helps her find a shop space near the train station. Sunja thinks the rent must be expensive there. Mr. Go-To tells her not to worry. The shop owner owes him a favor. He promises to talk to the owner for Sunja. Sunja is very grateful. Mr. Go-To says Sunja is the most amazing person at the market, not only opening a restaurant, but also having a son going to college. Noah quickly explains he hasn't passed the exam yet. Mr. Go-To says, "Of course you'll pass. Look at your grandmother. If you don't get in, she'll be heartbroken." Everyone believes Noah will definitely get into college. Noah feels crushed under this heavy expectation, but as the eldest son he knows, this is his responsibility to bear. He works at the telegraph office during the day. At night, he comes home and studies all night for the exam. He hardly allows himself any time to relax. The only time he can catch his breath is when he passes by the tofu shop on his way to work and exchanges a few words with the owner's daughter. Over time, the two teenagers start to develop feelings for each other. One night, Noah dozes off while studying. Sunja walks over and gently tells him to rest. Noah says, "I have to study." Seeing how responsible Noah is, Sunja's eyes fill with tears choking up. She apologizes to him. Noah asks, "What is there to apologize for?" Sunja says, "This is too much for you to carry. You work all day at the telegraph office, then study all night at home." Sunja says, "I wish I could make your life easier." Noah comforts her and tells her not to worry too much. Noah says, "That money, I know we could take it. Mr. Ko Han-soo's money. But Mom, I don't want to accept charity. You understand, right?" Sunja is moved to tears. She feels proud to have a son like Noah. The day before the exam, Noah comes to buy tofu. The girl gives him extra tofu. She hopes this small gesture can give him some strength. Noah walks out with the bowl, but comes back soon after. Noah says, "What if I don't pass the exam? Only 1 out of 7 people gets accepted. The odds are very low." For the first time, Noah shares his worries with someone. He's afraid of disappointing the people who believe in him. The girl says, "You're Noah? There's no way you'll fail." "I don't believe it." "You won't fail." Hearing her confidence in him, Noah finally leaves calmly. The entrance exam is the next day. Sunja personally takes Noah to the exam hall. Most of the students there are Japanese. Noah sees the classmate who stole eggs before, but the boy coldly turns his face away. The exam officially begins. On her way home, Sunja hears the radio. It reports news about the Korean War. Korea is now divided into North and South. The two sides clash at the 38th parallel. Their homeland is torn apart. What will happen to Koreans living in Japan now, after Noah's exam ends? Sunja's family anxiously waits for the results every day, especially Kyung-hee and Sunja's mother. They can't stop guessing whenever they have free time. Sunja feels restless too. Her mother and sister-in-law's constant chatter makes her even more upset. At the same time, Mr. Kim is still doing dirty work for Ko Han-soo. He takes out all his mixed feelings on a Japanese man who stole something. When he reports back, he feels exhausted. He is tired of this life. Ko Han-soo notices his thoughts. Ko Han-soo tells Mr. Kim he won't make Mr. Kim do dirty work forever. He has plans for the black market business and has already thought about Mr. Kim's future. Ko Han-soo says, "You won't always be my assistant." Mr. Kim says, "I understand." Mr. Kim arranges a girl named Yuki to serve Mr. Kim. "You're not a saint. Take good care of him. Help him forget his troubles." Mr. Kim and Yuki leave much later. Mr. Kim finally returns home. Mr. Kim sits outside his house silently washing clothes, but he can't calm down. In the kitchen, he sees Kyung-hee left dinner for him. For a moment he feels even worse. Mr. Kim can't forget Kyung-hee, but can't get too close. The next day he sees Kyung-hee washing his clothes again. To keep his distance, Mr. Kim tells her not to wash them anymore. Kyung-hee notices his hand is injured. She holds his hand and tells him not to push himself, at least until his hand heals. She insists on doing his laundry for now. Mr. Kim can't refuse Kyung-hee's kindness. He lets her take the clothes back. Yoseb has been watching their close moments. He notices something unusual between Kyung-hee and Mr. Kim. Anger builds inside him, waiting for a chance to explode. The next day is when exam results come out. Noah arrives at school early in the morning. On Waseda University's acceptance list, Noah finds his student number. Mosesu is even happier than Noah about the news. He runs to the market to tell Sunja and their grandmother. Sunja is overjoyed. All her hard work finally pays off. That night the family gathers to celebrate Noah's success. Noah happily shows them the school guidebook, but as he reads his smile fades. Sunja asks what's wrong. Noah says the guide includes a list of fees. The list is long, with many charges. The total comes to about 2,400 yen. This doesn't even include tuition or housing. Sunja's heart sinks. The amount is impossible for them to afford. Grandmother suggests asking Ko Hansu for help, but Noah quickly refuses. He doesn't want to owe Ko Hansu anything. Noah says he'll work to earn the money himself. Sunja stops him right away. She tells Noah to focus on his studies. They will find a way to solve the money problem. Sunja also promises Noah they won't borrow a single penny from Ko Hansu. Noah stops arguing. Everyone picks up their chopsticks and continues eating. But the happy mood from earlier is gone. Everyone is lost in their own thoughts, and the atmosphere feels heavy. Late at night, Sunja works on making candy in the kitchen. She plans to set up a second candy stall near the bus stop. Sunja wants to earn as much money as possible for Noah's education. Her dream of opening a noodle shop will have to wait until Noah graduates. Her mother understands Sunja. Without hesitation, she helps Sunja make the candy. Noah listens quietly from his room, deep in thought. Early the next morning, Noah tells Sunja he doesn't want to go to college. Sunja says, "I told you not to worry about the money." Noah can't bear to see Sunja give up her dream of opening a noodle shop for him. He also can't let her carry the family's burden alone. Sunja holds Noah's hand and says earnestly, "Noah, going to college is also your responsibility. Compared to your education, my noodle shop dream means nothing. You deserve a better life." Noah says, "This is my home. I want to stay." But no matter how much Sunja tries to persuade him, Noah insists on staying. To help her helpless, Sunja goes to Ko Hansu for advice. Ko Hansu looks serious, even a little angry. Ko Hansu knows better than anyone that without education, life will be full of hardships. He thinks Noah has this idea because Noah has always been too protected. He hasn't seen the real cruelty of life. So Sunja must make Noah understand this truth to convince him to go to college. Ko Hansu says, "If you can't persuade him, let me try." His words give Sunja an idea. But Sunja doesn't think Noah is blind to reality. Noah just hasn't let go of his worries yet. Sunja's job is to help him open his heart. Sunja goes to the telegraph office to wait for Noah after work. Then she takes him to the tofu shop run by the girl he likes. The girl is excited to see Sunja and Noah. She quickly invites them to sit and goes to the kitchen to prepare tofu. Noah asks, "Mom, why did you bring me here?" Sunja says, "I want to see what's still holding you back." Noah says, "It's not what you think." Sunja looks at the girl and remembers herself when she first came to Osaka. Back then, Sunja never imagined she would live in Osaka for so long. But no matter how long she stays, this place is not where her heart belongs. She doesn't want Noah to stay here either. Sunja says, "If you stay, you'll sit still and memories will burn your soul. I can't let that happen. I made a promise to your father. No matter what, you and your brother must grow up strong. I will keep that promise." Noah's eyes turn red as he listens to Sunja. Now Noah understands Sunja's deep care for him. The girl brings out the tofu. Sunja takes a bite and praises it sincerely. The girl shyly says, "I hope Noah remembers our tofu shop when he eats tofu in Tokyo." Clearly the girl means she hopes Noah won't forget her even in Tokyo. Noah says, "I can't imagine any tofu tasting better than this. When I go to Tokyo, I'll miss this flavor." Hearing Noah's answer, Sunja finally feels at ease. Neighbors gather to celebrate Noah soon. Ko Hansu arrives by car. Seeing his son so accomplished, Ko Hansu feels proud. Ko Hansu takes out a small, elegant package and gives it to Noah. This watch started everything. It was Ko Hansu and Sunja's love token. Sunja pawned it for money when she first came to Osaka. Later Kohansa bought it back. Now he gives the watch to Noah. Sunja watches from afar, surprised to see the watch. She didn't know Kohansu had reclaimed it long ago. Sunja realizes Kohansu has always been watching over her in secret. Sunja feels touched by Kohansu again. Noah's school start date is getting closer. Sunja Kyunghee and her mother pack Noah's things. Mosesu takes Noah out to play. Mosesu hits the pachinko machine and wins many small balls. Mosesu thinks he has mastered the trick. Noah believes Mosesu just got lucky. Noah tells Mosesu not to rely on shortcuts. Mosesu doesn't care. Mosesu trades the balls for prizes with the shop owner. Noah watches Mosesu chat easily with the owner. Noah feels that his carefree brother somehow gives him comfort. Noah says, "I leave the rest to you. Take care of the family." Mosesu replies, "Don't talk like that. You sound like you're disappearing." Noah says, "I won't disappear." Mosesu thinks Noah belongs in the big city. Noah asks Mosesu, "What are your plans for the future?" Mosesu says seriously, "I'm going to America. America has big cars, big houses, and endless suites. Most importantly, people there won't look at him with strange eyes." Mosesu longs for America's freedom. Tonight is Noah's last dinner with his family. Before eating, Sunja leads the family in prayer for Noah. Just as everyone is about to start eating, Yoseb comes downstairs. He hasn't joined meals for years. He immediately scolds Kyunghee for not inviting him. Poor Kyunghee not only suffers her husband's neglect, but also protects his fragile pride by staying quiet. Everyone else becomes cautious too, but Yoseb keeps picking on Kyunghee even more. "Did you taste this? How can anyone eat this?" Kyunghee says, "I'll make something else." Yoseb replies, "Don't bother. It'll be just as bad." Everyone sees Yoseb is being difficult on purpose, but no one dares to speak up. Finally, the youngest Mosesu can't take it anymore. Mosesu says, "How long will you keep acting like this?" Yoseb says, "What? How dare you speak to me like that?" Mosesu says, "Uncle, but Aunt Kyunghee works hard too." Kyunghee says, "Mosesu, stop." Mosesu says, "What did she do wrong? What did any of us do wrong? Your behavior isn't because of us. No one in this family has wronged you, Yoseb. You're the one who refuses to face reality and keeps giving up." Noah says, "Mosesu is right." Noah runs to his room and brings out a scarf. Mosesu immediately understands his brother's plan. The brothers try to put the scarf over Yoseb's head. They want to help Yoseb leave this house and face the outside world. But Yoseb angrily throws off the scarf. Yoseb cannot go out looking like this. Kyunghee also tells Noah and Mosesu to stop forcing him. Yoseb hasn't left the house in 5 years. Mosesu says, "How much longer must we live like this?" Kyunghee says, "Enough, stop talking." Hearing Mosesu's words, Yoseb suddenly realizes, as the head of the family, he can't keep living this way. Yoseb agrees to try leaving the house now. The brothers help Yoseb slowly step outside into the alley. Just getting this far takes all his courage. Mosesu encourages Yoseb again. They guide Yoseb all the way to a playground to watch kids play baseball. At first Yoseb is too scared to look up, but when he sees the smallest child on the field running hard to win, Yoseb feels inspired and cheers loudly for him. When the child wins the game, Yoseb also overcomes his own fear. Meanwhile at home, Kohansu suddenly visits Sunja late at night. Sunja asks, "Why did you give that pocket watch to Noah?" Kohansu says, "That watch once saved you, and it once saved me. Now it belongs to Noah." After talking about their son, Kohansu sadly mentions how his father-in-law is using his daughter to marry a Japanese man who looks down on him. The Japanese man even demands that Kohansu cannot attend the wedding. As a father, Hansa doesn't want to accept such humiliating terms, but his father-in-law agrees for him because his father-in-law made a deal with the Japanese man. If Hansa stays away from the wedding, they will give him the new subway line. His father-in-law not only agrees to this condition, but also forces Hansu to hand over his black market business to Mamoru Yoshii. He must focus on the subway line. Instead, Hansa feels helpless. Under pressure from his father-in-law and the Japanese man, he loses the business he's good at and is forced to let his daughter marry for politics. Hansa says, "Now my heart is slowly rotting. The longer I stay in these shadows, the worse it gets. I can feel it. What should I do?" Sunja answers, "The part of you that's rotting. You must cut it away." Hansu suddenly understands Sunja's words. The doubt in his heart finally has an answer. The next day is Noah's first day at school. Sunja decides to take Noah to Tokyo herself. Mosesu hugs Noah tightly, not wanting to let go. Mosesu says, "Don't go. I can't live without you." Noah says, "You said you're going to America too. Go, chase your dreams." Mosesu, "Look ahead. Always look forward." Their words sound like a final goodbye. Sunja and Noah arrive at Waseda University. Seeing the elegant city ladies on campus, Sunja feels awkward and out of place. During registration, the teacher gasps upon hearing Noah's name. She orders someone to bring out a special delivery that arrived that morning. Sunja and Noah look confused when they see the fancy luggage with Noah's name on it. Sunja knows Ko Hansu must have sent it. After settling Noah in, Sunja prepares to leave alone. She hugs Noah tightly, hoping he will soar to greater heights from here. "And don't forget to visit me sometimes." Noah's campus life begins. One day, he sees a Korean girl giving a speech against the invaders. Noah is deeply moved. They're far from home, but still fight for their country. Mr. Kim is also unforgettable. He decides to return home and join North Korea's army. Ko Hansa thinks it's a pointless sacrifice, but Mr. Kim is determined to go. Seeing his resolve, Ko Hansa stops trying to persuade him. But Ko Hansu asks Mr. Kim to do one last thing for him. This task is different from the dirty work Mr. Kim did for him before. This time he asks Mr. Kim to help him make a friend. Mr. Kim goes home to pack and says goodbye to Yoseb. Mr. Kim tells Yoseb he is going back to fight for his country. Mr. Kim thanks Yoseb for letting him and his family stay with them. Yoseb says, "You should thank Kyung-hee. That wasn't my decision." Mr. Kim says, "But you allowed it." Yoseb says, Did I have a choice?" Yoseb says he always knew Kyung-hee and Mr. Kim liked each other. The way Kyung-hee looks at Mr. Kim is something he, as her husband, has never seen. Yoseb says, "I want you to stay, because if you leave, she will break." Mr. Kim says, "She's stronger than you think." Yoseb says, "I don't need that kind of strength. I don't need a martyr. I don't want to be her cage either. She deserves more, far more than I can give her. From the start she deserved better." Yoseb doesn't want to stand in Kyung-hee's way anymore. He is willing to let her go and find happiness. She is free. Do you hear me? But Mr. Kim doesn't want to take advantage of the situation. Yoseb stays silent. He quietly walks up to his attic instead of answering. Mr. Kim understands what he means. Mr. Kim excitedly finds Kyung-hee and tells her everything Yoseb said. Kyung-hee is free now. Mr. Kim really hopes she will choose to be with him. Kyung-hee says, "So you two decided my future for me, is that it?" Mr. Kim says no. Kyung-hee says, "Then, was it a deal?" Mr. Kim says, "No, of course not. You know how I feel about you. Since that night on the farm my heart hasn't changed." Kyung-hee doesn't doubt Mr. Kim's feelings. She just can't break the rules society expects from a wife. Mr. Kim still won't give up. Mr. Kim says, "But I love you and you love me too. I know that love scares me." Finally, Kyung-hee makes Mr. Kim promise to live well, because living in a world without you is too painful for me. She hopes Mr. Kim will visit again someday with his wife and children. Mr. Kim says, "Don't say that." Kyung-hee holds back her tears and leaves. Her relationship with Mr. Kim ends here. Meanwhile, Ko Hansu starts his own fight back. The friend Mr. Kim made is actually Mamoru Yoshii, who keeps stealing his black market business. Now Ko Hansu makes a deal with Mamoru Yoshii. Mamoru Yoshii will help Ko Hansu get rid of his father-in-law. Mamoru Yoshii kills Ko Hansu's father-in-law for him. Their eldest son, Noah, has been at Waseda University in Tokyo for a year now. Noah not only makes good friends, but also starts dating the most popular girl at school. Noah's future looks bright, but their younger son, Mosesu, is different. Mosesu loves playing games. He skips school every day to play pachinko at the arcade. He studies the game tricks, but Mr. Goto catches Mosesu cheating. Mr. Goto brings Mosesu to Sunja, but Mr. Goto doesn't scold Mosesu. Instead, he suggests Mosesu work at his arcade. Mr. Goto sees that Mosesu belongs in the arcade more than in school. Sunja hesitates at first, but she thinks Mr. Goto is right, so Sunja agrees. Mosesu smiles happily. Clearly Mosesu really loves the arcade. Sunja tells Kyung-hee about Mosesu. Kyung-hee doesn't understand. Kyung-hee says, "Mosesu has other choices. Why does he have to do such embarrassing and shameful work?" Sunja gets angry too. She thinks they should have let Mosesu go long ago. Let him do what he wants instead of forcing him to be someone he's not to be, just like Noah. Sunja thought Kyung-hee would agree with her decision, but she didn't expect Kyung-hee to still be so old-fashioned. Sunja says, "I wouldn't be surprised if our brother said this, but I never thought you'd say it too." Yoseb hears their argument as he walks in. He doesn't argue back, he just quietly takes some letters upstairs. One of the letters is from Mr. Kim in North Korea. Yoseb doesn't open it. Instead, he opens a nearby box. Inside are several more letters from Mr. Kim. Yoseb knows these letters are Mr. Kim's way of telling Kyung-hee he's safe. Yoseb feels mixed emotions. In the end, he gives all the letters to Kyung-hee. Then he leaves the house to give her space. After killing his father-in-law, Ko Han-soo takes full control. He cancels his daughter's engagement and forms a business relationship with Mr. Kurigane, who almost became his son-in-law. Ko Han-soo has high hopes for Noah. Every week, he makes Noah visit him at a set time. Noah's girlfriend, Akiko, wants to meet this mysterious benefactor, but Noah refuses to. He also won't let Akiko call Ko Han-soo a benefactor. Today, when Noah goes to see Ko Han-soo, Noah runs into Mr. Kurigane. He hears the servants call Noah an honored guest. Mr. Kurigane wonders who Noah really is. Ko Han-soo proudly says, he's one of the most talented young men of his generation. Too bad, he's too humble. Mr. Kurigane asks Noah about his future plans. Before Noah can answer, Ko Han-soo says Noah will go into politics. Noah stares at Ko Han-soo in shock. Ko Han-soo's words make it clear he has already planned Noah's future. Noah hates feeling controlled like this. Before leaving, Ko Han-soo openly bribes Mr. Kurigane in front of Noah. This makes Noah dislike Ko Han-soo even more. He feels a strong resistance toward him. But no matter how much Noah dislikes Ko Han-soo, he still has to sit down and eat with him during the meal. Noah bravely tells Ko Han-soo he doesn't want to go into politics. He wants to be a simple teacher instead. Ko Han-soo laughs mockingly. He doesn't care about Noah's dreams. He has already paved a path to power and wealth for Noah. Ko Han-soo says, many doors are open for you here. You just don't see it yet. Noah replies, I do see it, but I choose to walk my own path. As soon as Noah finishes speaking, someone knocks on the door. Akiko shows up uninvited after introducing herself to Ko Han-soo. He quickly guesses she's the daughter of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs official. He's happy Noah has such a friend. Ko Han-soo and Akiko talk about Noah's future right in front of him, as if they've already decided his life for him. This makes Noah feel completely hopeless. Later Noah tells Akiko he wants to break up. He doesn't want another person controlling his life. But Akiko says Noah isn't just afraid of being controlled. He's afraid of a terrible truth being revealed. Noah already knows this truth, but refuses to admit it. Akiko steps closer and exposes Noah's secret. Akiko says, that man is your father. Noah yells, shut up. Noah is shocked by his own reaction. He runs through the heavy rain to Ko Han-soo's house. He needs to hear the truth from him. Noah says, Akiko told me. You are my father. Tell me, it's not true. Ko Han-soo says, it is true. He tells Noah about meeting Sunja in North Korea. Noah is their child, born from their love. This truth shatters Noah. Noah would rather be the child Sunja was forced to have by Ko Han-soo than accept his real father is a greedy and selfish man. Ko Han-soo says, because the blood in me flows inside you too. Not that useless man you called father all these years. How dare you call me selfish? Noah says, I saw you that night at the farm. Ko Han-soo says, so what? What did I tell you? Move forward. Ko Han-soo says, always move forward. Ko Han-soo says Noah is his child. This is a fact that cannot be changed. Now they can finally be honest as father and son. Ko Han-soo thinks he gave Noah the best life, but he doesn't know he ruined Noah's life. Noah returns to his home in Osaka like a lost soul. Sunja sees him and asks what happened, but Noah smiles and tells her he's fine. Noah says, I wanted to see you. I'm going back now. Sunja says, so soon. You just got home. Noah says, take care of yourself. Sunja says, Noah, mom is doing fine. Sunja feels something is wrong, but doesn't ask more. Sunja only realizes long after Noah leaves. Noah came to say goodbye. Sunja rushes out of the house to look for Noah, but Noah is nowhere to be found. Weeks pass with no news of Noah. Sunja blames herself. She thinks she and Ko Han-soo pushed Noah to this. We ruined him. No, Sunja, you sacrificed so much. I committed so many sins. All for him. He said he didn't want it. I should have known. Sunja finally understands Noah meant to leave for good. She fears she'll never see him again. Ko Han-soo is also heartbroken over losing his son, but now it's too late. Noah travels alone to Nagano. His only possession is Ko Han-soo's gold pocket watch. He pawns the watch for money. Then he applies for a job at a pachinko parlor. The manager eyes Noah and asks if he's Korean. Noah shakes his head. The manager lets him stay. I forgot to ask your name. Noah says, my name is Ogawa. Ogawa Minato. Noah changes his name. He starts a new life in Nagano. This is the end of Pachinko Season 2.